The easiest way that I can describe it to somebody else is when you know somebody's name but you can't think of what their name is. Imagine that happening with just about everything. Most people that have a concussion or a brain injury have no idea that they've ever been injured. They'll say, oh yeah, I wasn't feeling good. I might have thrown up for a little while. I had light sensitivity, but it went away. Everybody just writes it off as normal in a way, because we adapt. While I was going through pilot training, it was my first major injury that I didn't even recognize until I really started digging into what could have happened. In training, you sit in the back seat of this aircraft and they literally put a barrier over you so you can't see outside. You're flying as if you're stuck in the weather and you can't see anything. But the instructor is sitting up front, clear as day. So on this particular approach, some random aircraft had taken off but not talked to anybody. So I couldn't see him because I'm in the weather. And all of a sudden he grabbed the airplane because there was an airplane about to run into us. So in this case, the aircraft could roll really fast. It could do 720-degree roll in a second. So when this guy maneuvered, caught me off guard and I rolled into it, smacked my head. The bad part was the guy had no relevant awareness that he just cracked my head pretty hard and spatially disoriented me in an area where he's like, continue to flying now. I'm like, okay, where are we? What are the instruments saying? What's going on? Trying to catch up, of which we just adapt and continue to go. But the next sortie, radio calls, climb and maintain 4,000, turn right heading 250, contact approach on 264.5. Normally you would be able to repeat that pretty clearly. I was supposed to climb and maintain 4,000, but in my notes it said 5,000 because that's what I heard. Instead of contacting approach on 255.4, I was like 244.5. It's like my 4s and my 5s went all kind of wonky. I didn't know I did anything wrong. And all of a sudden he's like taking the aircraft and leveling off at 4,000. It's like, you missed the altitude. Pretty sure I was supposed to go to 5,000. So I just clarified, and at that point, I just kind of wrote it off as no big deal. But the entire sortie was just wonky. It kind of set me on this being behind path and not being able to figure it out because something got damaged. It wasn't until the fighter maneuvering where we're doing air-to-air combat training, the instructor in the other plane was doing this little fake-out maneuver, and he faked out the pilot that was flying at the time. I was sitting in the back. And he should have turned one way and he didn't. He went the wrong way and I was braced and I smacked my head into the canopy pretty hard. I don't remember after that point. I know I did fine. I passed the sortie. I flew my portion, came back in and supposedly tried to land. But it's all fairly grayed out. The transition, 2003, I went over to fly the A-10 out of Iraq. Flew over 40 combat missions. Was over the top of Saddam when they pulled him out of his little spider hole. Did some show of force passes where we blew up some buildings with just our gun alone. The only problem was things were breaking down. I had a reaction to the Anthrax vaccine and they had to cut out a big section of bone in my arm. They took me out of that particular cockpit. So they said if you have to eject and your arm is so fragile, it'll like rip your arm off, so you shouldn't fly that airplane for now. And then said, all right, pack your bags, go fight in the war in Afghanistan. So then I went and did that, and then got out of the military. Took me on this journey of things not working so great, to the point of eventually finding some help. They called it PTSD at the time, which can be a component to it, but that didn't really explain it very well. Because the night tremors and the constant battles that I was fighting in my sleep weren't necessarily the wartime battles. My sister termed me Adam 2.0 after that. She was like, we grew up knowing Adam 1.0, and then you came back from the war zone, you're like, Adam 2.0. I would say 2.0 was the guy that emotionally didn't know it was wrong, couldn't explain anything, felt hyper aggressive towards critiques or criticisms in some way. In that transitional period of brain injury, getting deployed twice, went through a divorce, and had bought this house thinking I could sell it or fix it up and sell it and make more money, and then I couldn't. And then it was like, This is what you get. You get to be a disabled vet sitting on the street, with a placard saying, my job doesn't exist, what do you want me to do? So then I had to try to figure it out. Brain injuries are complicated, and the totality of healing requires a picture bigger than just taking medicine or doing a therapy. Because the brain is always trying to solve a puzzle, if you give it the building blocks and the puzzle pieces that it needs to feel good, to go into that parasympathetic state where we get to rest and digest and relax, that's one of the more important components of healing, and it's one of the things that the flower essences do best. As a complicated patient that experienced a traumatic brain injury, flower essence were one of the modalities that helped me overcome some of the challenges that I was going through at that time. The shifts are so profound when you experience them. You don't even know exactly what's happening, but you know after the fact that the shift has happened. Life is turbulent. There are times that I need a stress reduction because I have 2 kids that are screaming and I need to help them, and then it helps all 3 of us. There are times when I'm going too fast and I need to slow down and relax. There are times when we need to feel more connected as a family. So all of those require slightly different remedies, and having them available and using them is what keeps our family nice and balanced. My family, we're not the tree-hugging, toad-licking, hippy-dippy type. We're pretty much West Texas, stable, tough people. The flower essences help create a treatment that we can do with each other that's never a negative. It's always kids screaming or they need some help, and you spray them with flower essences and they're like, Dad, they change their mentality pretty rapidly. And it goes from whatever they're grumpy about, whatever I'm grumpy about, to a more of a playful game. It's a shift that can happen that quick.
My husband has suffered from PTSD for many years now, and now that we have been using the flower essence sprays more regularly, he has been much more calm and connective with me and with our kids, and it has really been such a gift for our family to help bring us together.
And the awakening for me has been a confidence in sharing who I am with the world and being okay whether my speech is a little slow or I look a little different or I've had a rough past. And that awakening of we can share who we are. Being here, sharing now is not easy, but just knowing that the point of me taking my time and energy to try to do this for somebody else is to give someone hope that they also can get to that point. To be able to share that experience is my awakening. It's what I'm doing now. It's who I'm becoming.